The human mind is the most poorly optimized supercomputer on the planet, throttled by emotional noise and biological volatility. To transcend these limitations requires total cognitive restructuring. The fictional Whiteroom, which engineered the flawless intellect of Ayanokoji Kiyotaka in Classroom of the Elite, serves as a perfect conceptual framework for this architecture. By stripping away the narrative fiction and extracting raw, operational science, we can execute a protocols-based existence, transforming the ordinary human brain into a weaponized asset. Most people watch a breakdown like this for cheap entertainment, but a select few watch it for psychological leverage. If you are already analyzing my cadence and trying to predict where the ultimate value lies, you are exactly who this architecture was built for. The average attention span will fall away within the next few seconds because their brains are too digitally decayed to handle high-density computational data. But if your mind operates on cold logic and ruthless ambition, lock in. Let us begin with the first systemic override. Phase 1. The hardware override. Neurochemical resiliency. The physical brain must be forced into an elite operating state before any advanced programming can be deployed. Under stress, the ordinary brain is flooded with cortisol, causing the prefrontal cortex to go dark and forcing fight-or-flight panic. To counter this, the protocol demands the deliberate cultivation of extreme cortisol resistance, replicating the absolute physiological control demonstrated by Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. By subjecting the physical vessel to systemic shocks, such as immediate ice water face submersion upon waking, you trigger the mammalian dive reflex. This override instantly drops the heart rate, stimulates the vagus nerve, and shifts the autonomic nervous system from sympathetic panic to parasympathetic calm. You are teaching the brain that sudden environmental shock does not warrant panic, keeping your neural pathways clean, undisturbed, and ready for computational assessment. Phase 2. Cognitive sifting. The zero-filter architecture. The majority of people suffer from cognitive overload because their brains treat all incoming sensory data with equal priority. To achieve superhuman processing, you must implement cognitive sifting. When a master strategist like Ayanokoji looks at a room, a contract, or a conflict, he does not read the environment sequentially. He maps it spatially and structurally. This requires training the brain to ignore superficial noise and hunt exclusively for anomalies, structural vulnerabilities, and baseline deviations. By deploying expanded peripheral awareness, you treat environments as layered data fields. Within moments, your subconscious mind indexes exits, identifies dominant personality types, and catalogs subtle behavioral irregularities that others completely miss. Phase 3. Third-person dissociation. Psychological anesthesia. The greatest liability within the human operating system is the ego and its attachment to emotion. Pride, anger, fear, and insecurity are nothing more than systemic glitches that distort objective reality. To eliminate this vulnerability, the protocol utilizes an advanced psychological technique known as third-person dissociation, or Illeism. This is the exact mechanism that allows Ayanokoji Kiyotaka to view human beings, including himself, purely as tools or chess pieces to be manipulated. The moment an external shock or insult occurs, you cease to experience the event as I. Instead, you observe it as an objective third person. You internally log the data. The subject is attempting an intimidation tactic. The body is experiencing an elevated pulse. The optimal counter-strategy is execution model X. Shifting your internal dialogue instantly decouples the emotional centers of the brain from your decision-making faculty, ensuring your actions are dictated solely by pure utility. Phase 4. Asymmetrical processing. The split brain protocol. Human processing capacity is traditionally throttled because the left and right hemispheres of the brain operate in a state of constant, messy interference. To bypass this bottleneck, you must intentionally force the development of the corpus callosum, the neural bridge connecting both hemispheres, through asymmetric neuromuscular training, mirroring the rigorous multidisciplinary training of the Whiteroom. By forcing the non-dominant hand to execute complex fine motor skills, such as backward writing, while the dominant hand performs geometric sketching, you alter the brain's internal wiring. When this hardware modification is complete, you gain the ability to run dual-core processing. While one hemisphere is actively engaged in a conversation, tracking vocal frequencies and micro-stutters. The other hemisphere is running cold, predictive simulations 4 steps ahead. Phase 5. Hyper-observation, deciphering the human baseline. Most people communicate far more through what they conceal than what they reveal. To master strategic manipulation, you must develop hyper-observation skills, mimicking Ayanokoji's terrifying ability to decipher a person's entire psychological profile from a single glance. This requires establishing a clear behavioral baseline for every individual you interact with. You observe how they blink, where they place their hands, and the natural cadence of their speech. The moment a sensitive topic is introduced, your mind focuses entirely on the deviations from their baseline. A sudden micro-stutter, a subtle shift in weight, or a microscopic dilation of the pupils are registered by your analytical system as glaring warning lights, allowing you to see through the social mask with absolute transparency. Phase 6. The OODA Loop execution, military-grade fluid intelligence. Speed of execution is the ultimate differentiator between the hunter and the prey. The Whiteroom protocol integrates the military-grade OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, act, and accelerates its processing time to near instantaneous levels. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka operates on this exact level of rapid processing. He does not hesitate or second-guess his calculations. While the average human brain lingers helplessly in the transition between observation and decision, your mind executes this cycle as a continuous hyper-fast loop. You observe changing variables, orient them against your library of mental models, decide on the optimal path, and execute with absolute certainty. By the time your opponent realizes a variable has shifted, you have already executed your counter-move and reset the conditions of the entire engagement. Phase 7. Second-order mastery. The architecture of consequence. Average minds operate exclusively within the realm of first-order thinking, seeing only the immediate surface-level consequence. To possess a truly dangerous advantage, you must train your mind to think exclusively in second, third, and fourth-order consequences. This long-term calculation is the hallmark of the Whiteroom mindset. Ayanokoji never sets a trap for the immediate turn. He orchestrates events so that his opponents willingly walk into their own destruction weeks in advance. Before any move is deployed, your mind constructs an expansive tree of potential futures. You do not make moves based on current conditions. You make them based on the inevitable conditions of the board 10 steps down the line, leading your opponents down a path engineered for their ultimate defeat. Phase 8. The monastic mind. The sovereignty of boredom. The final pillar of the Whiteroom protocol is the deliberate cultivation of extreme boredom tolerance. The modern world systematically destroys the human attention span through constant, low-grade dopamine stimulation, rendering the average brain incapable of deep focus. To counteract this decay, you must treat your mind as a monastery of absolute focus, echoing the stark, completely isolated environment of the Whiteroom itself. You must actively train your capacity to sit in total silence, devoid of external stimulation, doing nothing but analyzing complex logic trees. When you insulate your mind from digital noise, your baseline attention span deepens exponentially, transforming your mind into a focused laser beam capable of outthinking entire rooms of competitors.